If people like Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz had just kept their mouths shut and stopped bringing attention to themselves, they probably would have got, away with all of this.
A long list of Ilhan Omar's crime is ready for deportation. Ilhan Omar pleaded on behalf of Somalians who attempted joining ISIS, terrorist organization. She said, they indeed tried to join terrorist organization, but they are kids. Well, Ilhan Omar is a terrorist sympathizer, and a long list of her crimes is ready for deportation. Listen to this.
Ilhan Omar's flamboyant, dirty dandy second husband surfaces in South Africa as Trump accuses duo of being siblings. She is being under investigation for immigration fraud from Trump border czar. Tom, what's going on here with Ilhan Omar?
So the facts are coming home to roost, and people like Ted Cruz and others, while she's in a weakened state because of what's going on, she's trying to defend the Somalis, but all the receipts are coming out about the fraud in Minnesota. People are turning up the heat, appropriately so, saying, hey, did you commit immigration fraud under the laws of that time of marrying your brother? I believe Elmi was his name. Did you do that? And now they're turning up the heat on it because apparently he was rarely here. And then before they even got divorced, I guess he took off for the UK, was a professor at University of Bristol or something. And so everybody's like, wow, hang on here. This doesn't really look like a loving, enduring marriage. You mean, where are the kids? Where's the cohabitation? Where's the evidence? And so we used to live in Southern California, Pat, and we used to know that there were some really dirty organizations. We would see it in the newspaper out there. We didn't know these things personally, of where people would be encouraged to marry, women from the Philippines or women from Vietnam. And all they wanted to do was get them to LA, give you a couple $1,000s for marrying them, and then they turn them into sexual slaves. It was horrible, but we saw it. It was in LA. It was in the LA Times. They would bust these gangs all the time for what was going on there. And so now Ted is saying, hang on, Ilhan Omar. Let's pause on the fraud investigations for what you're doing to the American taxpayer for a second. And let's ask a question. Did you come here illicitly? And if you came here illicitly and were never really married or cohabitating, or you married your brother, if that's what you did, then guess what? We want to bring the justice down on you. And, maybe we don't put you in handcuffs and have the ICE people, but you should be out of here. And that's what Ted Cruz and other people are saying. And now the heat's getting turned up because people see that she's weak and they can go after her because she's very busy trying to help Walz defend himself from all of the Somali fraud.
Yeah, weird. Well, I said this last week. If people like Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz had just kept their mouths shut and stopped bringing attention to themselves, they probably would have got, away with all of this, with marrying your brother to bring him into the country, to they're saying the number could be $8 billion worth of fraud statewide. It's just all that stuff if you just kept your mouth shut, but you don't want to. So just, on top of this weekend being crazy, her brother was detained by ICE, but he had his passport and they let him go. She made a comment on that. And also, Pat, did you know this? In 2016, she pleaded with a judge to show leniency to 9 Somalians in Minnesota who were charged for trying to join ISIS. That's Ilhan Omar. Did you know that?
Wow. Say that again.
In 2000, you know what, Pat? Let's have a reporter just go ahead. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
2 days ago, but it seems Minnesota Representative-elect Ilhan Omar may have already made her first move as an elected official. In a letter signed November 8th, Omar asks a U.S. district judge for compassion when sentencing 9 Minnesota Somali American men convicted of trying to join the terrorist group ISIS. She says the best deterrent to fanaticism is a system of compassion. We must alter our attitude and approach if we truly want to affect change. We should refocus our efforts on inclusion and rehabilitation. But she's not the
they wanted to be terrorists, but come on, they're just kids. Absolutely not. So this is going on to her and all the Somali pirate, this attitude of anti-America. It just keeps piling on. And then, guys, let's not forget, Ted Cruz is off. She didn't marry her brother for her to come in here. She married him to come in here in 2009. Okay, and then, by the way, she came here and when she was 12. She became a citizen at 17. Thomas Holman said something. He said there was immigration fraud involved. There's no doubt about the marriage to her brother.
That's what he's saying you came here fraudulently, and if that's the case, you leave here legally.
Yeah, exactly. But so this prevents Omar from criminal charges because, Pat, the statute of limitations, guys, has passed. But this doesn't protect her from denaturalization or deportation. Matt Tardio posted this. He said Omar claims she obtained her citizenship when her father was naturalized in 2000, just months before her 18th birthday. But there's a problem. No record has been found of this naturalization paperwork. In response to a FOIA request of her father's N-400 paperwork filed by A.J. Kern in June 2023, the National Records Center was unable to locate any filings under his name. So can she be denaturalized, deported, if this is substantial? Yeah. Yes, Tom. That's it. Because if fraud was involved in her father's alleged naturalization, then her citizenship can be on the chopping block. That's what Thomas Homan is going to go for. Not the brother thing, which, guys, how much more, and I'll give it up to Adam, how much more? Think about this person. You're coming here from Somalia, a place that doesn't even have a freaking government. Okay, Adam even called it a shithole.
Not a working one.
It's not a working government. Okay, you're coming from there, and instead of being grateful and trying to contribute and be happy, and I don't give a damn if she's in Congress, you bash the country, you steal money from us, you're sticking up for freaking terrorists, you marry your brother, okay, and then you come here illegally. What more do you need to have this person like, yo,
you
bounce.
create a criminal farm system?
Yeah, we don't want you. We don't want you here.
Speaking of importing terrorists and criminals, there's breaking news from the FBI. I don't know if you've seen this. It's just breaking news. Fox News has reported it. The FBI has announced that they arrested 4 alleged members of the radical pro-Palestinian group accused of plotting in New Year's Eve bombings all throughout LA. According to the FBI, they were allegedly planning coordinated bombing attacks on New Year's Eve using improvised explosive devices, targeting 5 separate locations across LA. Do you have that article right now, Rob? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Ilhan Omar probably write a letter for them to get.
The common theme, like I've said earlier of this episode, is this suicidal empathy and tolerance. When you let terrorist sympathizers parade on your streets, what do you think the outcome is going to be?
The outcome? The outcome will be exactly that of Nigeria. Sheikh Gumi and his terrorist sons hiding under the umbrella of Islam. America. If you want America to be like Nigeria, if you want the streets of America to be like Nigeria, then you need to allow these terrorist sympathizers to walk free. You need to allow them. In fact, you need to allow them to be part of you in the government, in power. Then America will be worse than Nigeria. America will be worse than Nigeria. You better think wisely and do the right thing for the safety of Americans. If you want to be politically correct, that is your own cup of tea. They are not ready. They are not ready to tolerate you. Islam is not ready to tolerate you. They don't care about your political correctness. They don't care. Saudi Arabia is the only country in the world where there is no single church. But Islam want to enter the whole nation. They don't tolerate you. They want to be tolerated. Think about it.